Hi guys, and welcome to Book and Loop, where happiness is handmade and the best way friends are always found in books. So it's been a long time since I've done a writing vlog. I am nowhere near where I would like to be, but I have a lot of things going on in my life that I just wanted to kind of jump on and talk about, especially in regards to my stories that I've been writing, because I'm just like way more ambitious than I should be. Um, so yeah, so without further ado, let's jump into it. So I guess just some like general life updates first. I started working full time at the library. I've been working there for like maybe 3 or 4 weeks now, which has been so much fun. I've literally been like loving it. I love like getting up and getting to go to work every day and kind of just like being surrounded by books all the time and getting to make programs where I get to make people happy. Like it's so much fun. Um, Other than that, I just got back from vacation. I just posted my books we read on vacation video, where you guys can check out all of the Emily Henry books that I read while I was on vacation. And I also got my hair done and lightened it just a little bit. So there's been a lot going on in my life, writing wise though. So I have been querying since the last time that we spoke. I've gotten a couple soft rejections, not hearing back really from people, just kind of like waiting, playing the waiting game. And I know that that's like a lot of what querying is just kind of like waiting and like praying basically and hoping that somebody's gonna love your story as much as you do. Um, so I've kind of just been trying to like work as much as I can on it. I still bring tag with me to the writing circle every time I go, up to chapter 9 I think with them. And I've gotten a lot of positive feedback, and that makes you feel good and makes me like happy that there are people out there that are enjoying my story. It's still nice to have like that feedback and to hear positive things because it really helps like build you up. I mean, querying is challenging, and like you see it all the time on Twitter, and like people, authors like talk about it all the time, how querying can be so challenging because it's just you and your story, and you're trying so hard to like vouch for this thing that you've created, that you have so much passion and drive for, and that you think is really great and important. You have to kind of like be accepting of the fact that like people aren't gonna like love your story right off the bat, or that people might reject it. And it's hard. It's hard to like build yourself up in that way, that like every time you get knocked down, like you have to pick yourself back up. It is nice to like go to the writing circle and have these people that are kind of like building you up and helping you to like hone your story. It just like makes you feel really good about yourself. And like I really love going to the writing circle for that reason. I'm really sad like I didn't do it earlier in my life because it's been such an amazing experience and I've really just been like loving it. That is what's going on with the writer circle and tag. I don't even want to look at you guys when I say this because I'm so upset that I've like barely written it all in Project Purple. I almost said the real title of the book there. I haven't written it all in Project Purple. I think on my way home from my trip I wrote like 3,000 words and that was it. And that was like in the 12-hour car ride that like we were on our way home. So I feel like that's like pretty good, but like I definitely need to like focus on that more because I really think that that's a really great story. But it's just like it's hard, like I said, like you kind of get like disheartened a little bit. So it's like all about like rebuilding yourself up and like trying to then like push past that, like, oh my gosh, like, am I even good enough to be doing this? I always see people, sorry, I'm like jumping back into the tag for a second. There are like times when I go on Twitter and I see authors talking about shelving their stories, and I'm like, I don't know, that always like breaks my heart. Like I'm like, no, like I don't really like want to necessarily shelve my story. Like I don't want tag to like be something that I push to the side. I want it to be something that like people are going to enjoy. And it is nice going to the writing circle because then like there are people that are enjoying it, you know? So it's just kind of like trying to stay positive and like believe in myself and like be just like as happy as possible. Where was I talking? Oh, Project Purple. So I want to like continue to push through Project Purple because I feel like this is like a really strong story. It might be even stronger than Tag, and like I think that it will like really be good once I like actually like sit down and finish it. And I'm determined to finish it because I want to get one of my goals for 2022 was to finish my first draft of Project Purple. And if I don't do that, I'll be really mad at myself. So I'm like really trying very hard to do that. So we shall see. I need to, I think, build like a very specific schedule for myself, and then maybe like I'll get it done. But we'll see. So I'm not even gonna bother mentioning my personal project or my Little Red Riding Hood, because you guys already know I haven't worked on that at all. So I have just been just so busy with like life stuff and like being in adult things, and like I just haven't had time to like sit and be like that little dreamer in my chat and like write all my stories. But I did, while I was on vacation in Tennessee, I did start writing a different book because I'm crazy. Um, Loosely based on my personal project, but a completely different look at it. Um, I honestly think it's a really good premise. It's like a second chance romance, and it's just like, I think gonna be sweet. I'm not sure exactly how I want it to go just yet. I feel like it's hard for me to like really get a grasp of how a story's gonna go until I'm like halfway through, and then I'm like, oh wait, no, I know exactly where this is going. I do that all the time, like with Tag. Like I don't think I like really knew exactly how I wanted the story to end, or like exactly what I wanted the story to be, until like I was basically 75% through writing it, and I like messaged my friend and I was like, I have to do a complete rewrite and change a bunch of stuff because like now it's totally different than like what I realized the story needs to be. And like the same thing with Project Purple, like I talked about it on here, like realizing that my characters weren't working and like being like, oh, light bulb, like this is how it has to be, and like then going to change it and then like making it be what it's supposed to be, if that makes sense. But it is just like so interesting to think about like all these different things that like going into writing a book, and like how there's so much like give and take, and there's so much that has to go into it, and it's just like, I don't know, I think it's so fun. Like I think it's really fun. Like I think it's nice to like sit and like come up with new stories. And I've been like, now, because previously I had like an idea for a story, and I think I tweeted about it a while ago. I had an idea for a story and it was like 11 o'clock at night. Like, I was like, no, like I don't want to write it down right now. Like I'll remember it. I'll remember what I said, and I'll remember the story idea. And then it was like a whole scene that I like came up with. Like I had like this whole scene like drawn out and ready to go, and I was like, yes, this is exactly what it's gonna be. I'm gonna write it down. It's gonna be great. And this is gonna be for like a new story that I want to write, right? And then I woke up in the morning and I couldn't remember anything that I had thought about previously the night before, and was just so upset with myself because like why? Like why did I not get up and write it down? So I've been trying to be better with that. I have a notebook that I keep in my desk at work, and I use the notes app on my phone to kind of jot down different ideas and stuff that I've kind of been trying to be better with that stuff, because like it's so upsetting when you like come up with like a great story idea or like a great premise or a great scene and you don't write it down because you're like, I'm gonna remember, but no, your brain will never remember, so you just gotta always write it down. So I'm trying to be better with that. So I really actually like came up with 3 separate story ideas while I was like neglecting writing my other stories. And like in the beginning of the year, I made that like chart thing for you guys where I was like, this is the stories that I wrote previously, and this is like what I'm working on, my focus and my side projects and like all this, and now there's like 15 different more things that I'm working on because I'm crazy and I can't like control myself. And so I have the one that I came up with, that's the second chance romance when I was in Tennessee, and then I have the one that I just started working on the other day. I've been like obsessively watching Tangled the series and like listening to the music, and I've been like obsessively writing to Next Stop Anywhere from season 2. And while I was like writing to that, I was like, oh my god, I totally have like a different story idea that I could totally be working on right now. And so I like totally switched what I was doing to now being, and I like made a promise to myself because I was like, I really need to focus on Project Purple. So like I'm only gonna write this new story while I'm at work, like if I'm doing during my lunch, or like if I'm working with my writing circle for the teens, or like I'm doing like at the desk and like there's not a whole lot going on and I kind of finished all my work for the day already. Then I will like allow myself like a little bit of time to write that story, just because I want to get Project Purple done, and like I like my brain is like unable to focus lately on anything other than like new stories, and it's just like I want it to quiet down. Like stop doing this to me. Like I want it to just like focus on what it needs to focus on, and it's like so frustrating that it won't. And like not fun. Like for no reason. So there's this like new like adventure story kind of thing, and then I had a third story that I actually like didn't start writing, but I have all the notes for like what it's gonna be and how it's gonna work on my phone, and that's like a told from the villain point of view story. And like I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me that like I can't focus on one thing at a time. Um, I like want to just do Project Purple and get it done. Like I only have to write probably like 40,000 more words and it'll be done. And then like the world that I built for Project Purple like completely opens me up into like having the opportunity to write a ton of more stories within this universe that I created. And it's just like, get it done, girl. Like what are you doing? Like why are you wasting all this time? So I just need to like force myself into it. And like I hate that because like I don't want to force myself into it because then I know my writing's not going to be as good. And that I kind of need to just like let it be when inspiration strikes, but at the same time it's just like I want to get it done. Like I want to be done, and not just because like I built this like timeline in my head of like how I want to do this story, but like of like how I want to write this story because it took me so long to write Tag. I know like Rome wasn't built in a day. Like, you know, like there are authors that like write a book and it takes them literally years, and like that was kind of what happened with Tag. But like I want to know what's going to happen with Project Purple, and like I want like I need to like get it done so that it's a full book, and like I want to kind of just like have that story, and like I feel like it needs to get out of me, like it needs to get out of me so that I can focus on these other things that I'm working on. But at the same time it's like I don't know, like I have like a mental block, and like I sit down to write Project Purple and I start writing a side project, and like I sit down to like draft up a couple of like different ideas, and like instead I start writing like a totally different story, and it's just like a mental block. And I don't know if I just need to like accept that and like step back from Project Purple and like just focus on like what I'm inspired for right now. But at the same time, like I do want to do that. Like I want to just like continue to push through so that I can like finish this. And it's like I'm very like frustrated with it, like for no good reason. Like just like I'm endlessly frustrated with it. And I don't know if it's just like I'm like at a point in Project Purple where I'm like not sure exactly where I want it to go. And I think that might be a problem. Like we talked about it in my writer circle like not that long ago. Someone was like, when you sat down to write Tag, did you have it completely figured out? Like completely like wrote down every single piece of it that was gonna happen, and like sit down and like be like, yes, this is gonna happen here, and then like this will be like foreshadowing for this, and this will then cause this to happen. And I was like, no, not at all. Like I sat down and I wrote completely through it, and like I jump around when I write. I think I talked about that. So like I would write chapter 4 and then would be like chapter 90, like, you know, like jumping around because my chapters are short. I don't think there's 90 chapters, but that's just an example. So I would like jump around a lot when I was writing, and then like things would kind of click into place as I was writing chapter 83, and then I'd be like, okay, now I'm ready to write chapter 5. And I think that like worked really well for me for that story, but for Project Purple I feel like it's like not working the way that it used to. Like I'm trying so hard. I'm trying so hard. I don't want to plan it out because I like the way that like I like it better when I write very like organically and not where I'm like, okay, by page 40 I have to be at this point, by page 70 I have to be at this point, you know, like it's not like I don't like doing that. And I don't like it where I'm like, I always hated when I was in school when teachers would make you write outlines, because it was like I'd rather just like go and like let my writing take me where it's gonna take me, rather than like sit down and be like, okay, like I need to be boop boop boop, these are my paragraphs, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm writing about. Like I like to just like go, and like that's like been like I think almost what's like holding me back with Project Purple is that like I feel like I can't just go. I don't know if I'm like at that point. Like I said, like when I was writing Tag, I got to a certain point where like things clicked and things made sense, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what I have to do, and the rest of the story just boom flew out of me. I don't know if I'm at that point with Project Purple, and that's why like I'm struggling so much, is that like I need something to click so that I can keep writing. I guess I'm just like at that point now where like I'm like, okay, like where are we going from here? What are we gonna do? I think that maybe that's like what has to happen. And I don't remember exactly like how it happened with Tag. I don't know. Like I definitely wasn't like working on a new story or anything like that. Like I wasn't like getting distracted all the time. I think I was just reading a lot. And I think like I kind of had like this like aha moment where I was like, oh, I know exactly what needs to happen. So I don't know if like that's why. And like I've been doing the I read it all challenge, and I don't know if like reading too much outside of like my normal genre is like affecting me, because I'm like I don't even know. Like, I literally sit down to write and like a different thing like comes up and I'm like, okay, yes, I'm gonna do this instead. And then like I like sit down, like I said earlier, like it's just like frustrating. And I don't know if I need to just like take a pause on I read it all and like just go back to like the basics and like start reading like very similar to like my story for Project Purple. Like I don't know, like do I pick up a fangirl and do I like go back to like doing stuff like that where I'm like reminding myself of like what it is that like made this story special and like why it's so important to me. But it's just like I don't know, like I get like myself mad and like I'm sure like tons of other writers like feel the same way too, like where you have like not like a falling out with like your story that you're writing, but you kind of have like this like moment where you step back and you're like, oh my gosh, like I wrote everything that I can write and like now I'm stuck and I have 50,000 words and I don't have anything else and like I don't know what else to say and like you kind of just need to like regroup and like come at it from a new angle. Like you always see like the thing and it's like if you feel stuck in your scene, like you should just kill one of your characters, but like I feel like that like does not fit in the context of this story. So it's like I don't know. I need to just like force myself to do it. I'm gonna continue to query with tag and continue to like push myself into writing for Project Purple. I think I just need to get past this point where I am because like now like I wrote I think that's the problem too. I have like so many theories on like why I'm struggling so much to write the story, but like I think part of the problem too is that like I'm past the part where like I did the meet cute and I like had them like become friends and like they start talking more and like I want to get to the part where they get together and I have that part written already, but I need that in between of like when they become friends and when they get together and like I am like dreading writing these scenes where it's like how am I going to do this? Like how do I get from point A to point C without like touching on point B? Like I need to get to point B so that I can get to C and like there's no other way to like go about writing it and like I don't know. Like I don't know like I know like I need to just like sit down and do it, but like I can't. Like I literally am trying so hard. But I'm going to do it. I know I will because it happened for Tag, so it'll happen for Project Purple, and then it will happen when I do the Little Red Riding Hood retelling, and it will happen when I do my Second Chance Romance, and it'll happen when I do the fantasy adventure novel. Like it'll happen. Like I know it will. It's just a matter of like being patient for when it happens and continuing to be creative and continuing to work as hard as I can until it happens. So yeah, I have like a lot of new projects that I'm working on for no reason. I definitely should not have as many projects as I do, but it's just like a constant like pestering at the back of my head that's like, excuse me, you need to write about me now. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like, I can't even tell you. Like, I think I have like 17 notebooks on my desk of just stories that I'm like in the like first chapter of. And I remember when I met Maggie Stiefvater when I was at a book signing for The Raven King, like back in, I don't even know, 2016, I think we went, like that summer, whenever that book came out. And she had asked me what my favorite book in a series was, and I had said it was the first book because I love beginnings and I hate endings. She's like, I like the last book because it kind of like ties everything up neat with a little bow. I was like, oh, okay, like, but like, I don't know, like, I think that's part of like my issue too, is that like I like beginnings, and so like I just keep writing new beginnings instead of working on the middle and endings, and then it's like driving myself crazy. So I know that this is just something that I need to do. So yeah, that's kind of all from me. Thank you for letting me complain and talk your ear off for the last, I don't even know, probably like 15 minutes. And I'm just gonna try and push through, and I'm hoping I can come back to you guys with some better updates. Who knows? Maybe by the time I get to like October, I will have way more written in Project Purple and I will have it all figured out. Wishful thinking, but we're gonna hope and pray. So that is going to be all from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this very ranty writing vlog where I just complained about myself. And I will hopefully see you guys soon. Happy writing!